Welcome back to another edition of Off the Cuff as we work our way through the Women's Lectionary by Ashley M. Wilcox. And if you are new, if you are just joining, know that I have challenged myself to go strictly from Ashley's writings each week and the scriptures that are referenced, and that's it. The other thing that's important to know is that our purposes here are very simple. We are looking only at how what we learn from the text tells us, shows us how God sees and views women, and how that then has been twisted by religion over the years. When I started this nearly a year ago, we're almost nearly at 52 weeks. When I started this nearly a year ago, I could not have anticipated quite where we would be at this moment in history in this country. And so suddenly, what we talk about here, as far as how women are to be viewed, as how God understands us, now more than ever, I want to be very clear that this applies to all of my siblings, non-binary, trans, however you understand yourself and the way that God created you, you have an inherent worth and value that nobody can take away from you. Something I noticed as I was trying to prepare for today is that I am tired. I'm tired of these same themes over and over and over. The same things, right? So today is one of those days where there's kind of the usual format within Wilcox's book, but then there's a second week for Transfiguration Sunday. So there's actually 4 potential stories to be reviewed today. I think we need to go by theme, and the primary theme is the silencing of women, and more of the covert silencing, meaning we're just gonna not write about them or talk about them. We will maybe mention them by name, but we'll not tell their story. We'll not give the story from their angle. There's this messy understanding of God gendered, and the people as a group, nation, also gendered, right? God as parent, God as husband. So there are all these words, there's all these viewings, right? It is a common theme. I in another part of my life at the moment, am thick into the prophets, and a giant theme within the prophets, I just noticed that piece of hair. A giant theme within the prophets is this idea of the people being unfaithful to God in their acts of worship to other gods. So this theme of infidelity is all about worship. It's all about belief system. But because it was written in a patriarchal society, and therefore under laws in which the women were the ones responsible for adultery, can't go there. it's always a female image. This idea of adultery, this idea of the people of Israel and what they have been doing, they are the adulterous woman. I think too often the words ascribed to women don't take into account these pieces of the story, right? That God is speaking to the nation that he has called and chosen, who are meant to be loyal to God, right? The one true God. And yet the people are consistently, no matter where they are, leaning into the worship of other gods, Baal and others. So what has happened, though, is there's just these pieces of Christianity, these branches of religion that have built from stories like that, including that of Gomer, right? In Hosea, that's one of our texts for today, is this person of Gomer who we don't know if she's real, if she's just simply an example, a metaphor, but she is reduced to the title of a whore, and used. So it's language like Hosea took her as his wife. She is used as an example. So conceive and have this child and name them this thing so that people will know this lesson. And then conceive and have another child and name them this because they will represent this. So it's an image of a woman being taken into marriage, which does not indicate any desire, let alone acquiescence or agreement. And then conceive. And name your children these specific things because this is what they represent. So now your children are also purely symbolic. I have a hard time accepting that this is meant to be real, that we are meant to believe that Gomer was a real woman. But again, much like the stories of the people of Israel being called as adulterous people, a lot of branches of Christianity have taken all of these stories and applied them directly to women. They have taken the metaphor and made it real and said that, and have reduced women to property who can be taken, right? So now contrast this with the two New Testament passages. So I'm going to jump first to that of Mark and the hemorrhaging woman. So a detail that I never noticed before is that this woman approaches Jesus. She touches his hem for healing after years of going to the doctor, right? Mark tells us that she has depleted her funds. She's done all that she can. This is her last desperate act to finally be free of this hemorrhaging, which would have been, what that does to the body, how she must have felt all of the time, is awful to consider. I don't know where the men in her life are, if she has any, right? We don't know. We just know that she's there She has tried all that she can. And she knows enough about this man named Jesus that if she goes to him, healing is possible. And then when Jesus feels the power leave him, which I think is a beautiful image, and looks for her, she comes to him trembling that she is maybe going to be in trouble. And instead, Jesus frees her not only from the bleeding, but from any sense of shame or anything of that nature that she might have felt for being bold enough to approach this man and touch the hem of his robe. She is independent. She is finding a way to make her way. And she finds it by being bold and by being brave and by trusting the impulse of the Spirit. That's the only way I can describe it. To go and do this thing that makes no logical sense, but does make sense in the world of faith. To go and find and touch the hem and just walk away. And I think she would have just walked entirely away had he not called her back. So then in Luke, we have this passage of the Sadducees asking Jesus questions about the resurrection. And, it's a tricky thing, right? We don't know we really don't know what heaven is going to be. We don't know. We just know so very little. And I think that's because our human brain can't really comprehend it. But in this passage, what Jesus outlines is this beautiful future in which a woman doesn't need to be married to have safety, to have provision. There are a lot of women, a lot of people who find great comfort in that, because what that symbolizes is that there is a future in which those of us who are seen as less than will one day be assured that we will not be viewed as less than. And there will be no need of that safety and protection, because all will be on one level playing field. In fact, it won't even be a playing field. It'll just be a beautiful open meadow where everybody has what they need. Everybody is viewed as an equal member of whatever that society is going to be. Everybody's contributions will be celebrated and recognized. That's what this is outlining. These passages have been twisted and misapplied and used to continue these cycles of patriarchy and demeaning women and removing their ability to listen to the Spirit. And these passages also include stories of women who fight through all the noise, tune it all out, harness the Spirit, and obediently step into that faith and take a little bit of the eternity that awaits us for themselves. So, siblings, if you are in a faith community that is telling you that you are less than, if you are in a faith community that is telling you that you do not have right, that you do not have value, that you do not have worth, that you somehow only obtain your true purpose, identity, relevance if you are attached to another human, you are not receiving the messages of God. You are not being loved the way that God created you and the way that all is intended to be. Seek that for yourself. We have to keep speaking. We have to keep fighting. We have to keep putting the truth out there. She is called, and she will continue to speak, even after the 52 weeks are over. I will be back on Ash Wednesday. I hope that as you approach this season of Lent, that you can do so from a place of genuine desire to connect more deeply with God. Not to shame yourself, but simply to look and say, where can I connect more deeply, and seek that for 40 days. It's not about chocolate. It's not about meat. Engage practices that bring you closer to God. I will see you on Wednesday. In the meantime, like, comment, share, subscribe. And remember that sharing does not have to be done over social media. You can email links, you can text links, whatever it might be, whatever works for you. So thanks for riding this very disjointed ride today. You can tell the themes are weighing heavy at this point in time, as is the repeated need to have the conversation. So thanks for being here. I will see you soon. Be well.